Thank you, everyone, for attending the Courage to Heal Summit. This is absolutely amazing. Today has been so empowering. The speakers have been giving so many wonderful strategies that we can literally walk away with, literally use. This is so amazing. So, I want to introduce you to our next speaker. She's absolutely wonderful. I'm going to let her take it over from here. Wendy Corner, take it over and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations. I mean that. Congratulations. You have the courage to heal. You have the courage to move forward, which is why you're here, isn't it? So, can I ask you to raise your dominant hand? Anyone else on camera? Thank you. Pop it on your opposite shoulder and give it a tap. Congratulations. Give yourself a bit of encouragement because you have that courage to heal. Now, what's this about? Well, Lima mentioned my name is Wendy Corner, and I'm in the process, I'm in the business of breaking people out of jail. Now, I don't mean a physical jail, because that would be a bit naughty, wouldn't it? I mean the jails that we have in our head, the things we tell ourselves over and over and over again. Some of those we're consciously aware of, and some of them we're not. Let me give you an example. Okay, who's up for a bit of time travel? Anyone? Okay, thanks, Jenny. Okay, so we're going to go back in time to roughly 19, well, it is definitely 1968. Think about this. I'm going to set the scene for you. This is a hospital in the United Kingdom, and I'm two. Parents were not allowed to stay in hospital with their children at this point in time. You know, they'd get in the way, they'd interrupt proceedings from the nurses, and they'd upset the children. Really? Thankfully, we've moved on since then. Okay, so I've given you the scene. Double doors, boom, shutting. They've got big round windows at the top that the adults can look through, and the little ones can't see out. On the other side of these double doors is my mother. She can see through the window. She can see her little 2-year-old shouting and screaming, "Mom!" But she couldn't come. She wasn't allowed to. Now, little 2-year-old didn't know that. Little 2-year-old made the decision, well, my voice doesn't matter. Clearly, nobody's coming for me. My voice doesn't matter. I don't matter. Now, that was a fairly bold statement to make as a 2-year-old, but let's face it, 2-year-olds are the centre of their own world, aren't they? I didn't remember that for another 50 years, in fact, more than 50 years. But that my voice doesn't matter, everybody else's does, was happily trolling along under the surface. And it coloured the way I saw my childhood. It coloured the lens through which I saw my adolescence. And get this, what did I choose as a profession? Speech pathology. You know, everybody else's voice matters. I didn't want anybody to experience the same feeling of rejection and abandonment that I had, but I didn't know that, not consciously. As I said, fast forward about 15 years, and I was working with a very skilled coach who had done a little bit of archaeology in the old brain department and worked out that this was the script I was running. I call them scripts. The reason I don't call them limiting beliefs, we'll come on to that in a minute. Just hold on to that one, will you? And she said to me, Wendy, because by this time I'm no longer a speech therapist, okay? I'm working with authors, I'm working with speakers to get them onto stages and to share their very important message. And she said to me, do you know, you're still running that same script, don't you? What are you doing, Wendy? It's all about other people going ahead of you. Everybody's voice matters, mine doesn't. So she said, come on then, when's it going to be your turn? Ah. That was a bit of a wake-up call. So that's when I made the conscious decision to tweak that little script. And it now reads, everybody's voice matters, including mine. Which is why you're talking to me now. Because I'm now putting myself out for summits and other speaking opportunities. So now you've got a bit of a context to it. I would love to introduce you to my Rewire process. I'm going to throw up a slide later on, but right now, just come with me. Rewire, R-E-W-I-R-E. Okay, let's start off with the R. Recognize. Okay, I'm going to need your support on this one. How many people find themselves doing the same thing repeatedly? Maybe you take the same route to work. Maybe you have fish on a Friday. Maybe you have the same words that come tripping off your tongue. I don't know. Awesome. Fantastic. Oh, that's a shame. Sorry. What is it that comes off your tongue regularly? Because that will give a clue to what's going on in here. Those habits, those language patterns, those physical habits, those thought patterns, they all follow a process. At some point in your life, you have adopted a script. Now, we'll talk a little bit about where that came from in a minute, but what I'd love you to do is to actually focus in and find out, do a bit of archaeology for yourself and recognize what those scripts are. Now, you probably won't be able to do this today. You'll take a little bit of time out. As Victoria was sharing with us earlier, do a bit of breath work, and I'm going to talk a bit more about breath work in a second. But this is where recognizing what it is that we're saying to ourselves is so important. Okay, let's go on to the E for exhale. Victoria shared with us a breathing technique, and absolutely I agree with that. This is where, because we've held on to that script, maybe not even realizing it, it's all in the unconscious. Remember, mine wasn't even clear for over 50 years. We're kind of up like this, and you don't know why there's something wrong, but there's a little bit of tension in there, or a lot. And it's that, the letting go, the physically releasing with that breath work. That I do what I call a square breathing, but I'm going to share more of that in the PDF that I'm sharing with you at the end. But I'm giving you just an overview here. So that's the exhale, the let go of the stress. Because if you can slow your breathing down to under 12 breaths a minute, you actually cut off the adrenaline pathway. You know, that freeze, fright, flight, fright, or freeze. That one. That's the sympathetic nervous system, which is where an awful lot of us live. And if you cut off that adrenaline pathway, you can flip over into the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the chillax version. And that's when a lot more brain capacity comes on board, because you're not in that mode, which isn't, frankly, very helpful to the logical side of you. Okay, so that's the exhale stuff. We're coming on to the W for wonder. Now, remember I said I don't call them limiting beliefs, I call them internal scripts. Well, there may be occasions where part of that script is actually very helpful. Let me give you an example. Last year, I spent a body of time in Malaysia, and I picked up a little gastric fun on the way. I had a gastric episode, got over it, but blow me down, it came back again with a vengeance. And let's just say that for 8 weeks solid, the world fell out of my bottom. Now, I lost, and I do mean lost, 6 kilos. That's 13 pounds, which on my frame doesn't look good. And it was only when a friend of mine in Australia got on a Zoom call with me and said, what the blazes is going on? You look awful. Go and get seen by a doctor. I worked out that the script that I had been running was, I can handle it. I don't need help. Okay, how many of you have experienced the 2-year-old who goes, me do it? Anyone? Yes. Well, my little 2-year-old was still functioning, which wasn't really helpful in a nearly 59-year-old body. But hold on. What took me so long to actually get help did partly come in handy for what came next. The doctor took some bloods and said, oh, we'll get the results back in a few days. I get a message the day after from the surgery going, doctor wants to see you at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Be there, in capitals. Okay. So I turned up and she said she needed to do an ECG because the blood results had shown up something that didn't look good as far as my heart was concerned. She was quite concerned. I'm in Malaysia, remember? This ECG machine had come out of the ark and she couldn't get a reading. Now, this dear doctor was concerned for my health and her anxiety levels were going up, 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 up. And I'm focusing on the I can handle this. She's about to check my heart. Of course, I want to keep myself on an even keel. If my heart's a problem, then let's treat it with love. I can handle this on that occasion actually was beneficial. So can you see why this is where the wonder, is there ever a context where it could come in handy? We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater at this point. Bathwater, yes. Baby, let's maintain the baby. So then we come on to the I for investigate. And this is where I kind of went back to, well, where did that come from? Oh, back to the double doors. I couldn't trust people to come when I needed them. The big person that I needed the help from most was my mum, and she could not come. So again, little 2-year-old logic went, oh, I can't trust anyone. That's it. I can't trust anyone. I can handle this. I don't need any help. Me do it. Once I sussed that one out and realized, okay, it was my own voice, it wasn't anybody else's voice, but sometimes that can be a critical teacher, it could be a parent, but it can also equally be your own voice because that's the decision you've made in survival mode to handle a situation that you didn't have the psychological toolbox nor the emotional maturity to handle it. So this is where the I comes in. And now we've investigated it and we've wondered and we've realized, baby, yes, bathwater out. Well, how are we going to reframe it? And do you remember the first one was, my voice doesn't matter, everybody else's does. That got flipped to everybody's voice matters, including mine. Not a complete disrespect of the original one, a tweaking. And the same happened with this one. I can handle it and I can also ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength, a sign of courage, which is what we're all doing here today. So that's where it became, I can handle this and I can ask for help. Think about it. We've talked about the fact that we had these neural patterns and they've been there for a long time. I mean, okay, this one had been running for over 50 years. So if you can envisage something like the Grand Canyon, if you said to the Colorado River, right, you're not going any further, and you stuck a dam in there, it wouldn't take very much duration of time before the water piled up behind it and broke through. And that would be your unconscious mind going, yeah, not a chance. I don't believe that. Because let's face it, it's been trying to keep you safe all this time. So this is where we're going to reroute it with a different response, a different script, a tweaked, an amended tweak, amended response, okay? My voice matters. Everybody's voice matters, including mine. I can handle this and I can ask for help. Trust this is helping to put this into context. The last E then is the embrace. back to that dominant hand. I've made a decision. I've consciously chosen to rewire that script. And believe me, you're going to have to do it again and again and again and again and again, at least for 21 days. For whenever you're aware that that script is running, it takes at least 21 days to rewire a neural pathway. At least. Don't think it's just going to happen like that. This is where it becomes conscious until the time that it becomes unconscious, and it's your default script. Okay, so that's how the rewire process works. That's forming the free gift I've got for you later, and I'll talk about that then. Now, that's been an awful lot of mental stuff. Can I ask you to give a shuggle? You've been sitting down for quite a while. Just shake things out. And then Victoria was very good and she got us standing up. But now I want you to clasp your fingers together and your thumbs are going to go, this is going to be on the back of your head. Now you're going to cradle the base of your skull in this part of your hand. And your elbows are going to be beautifully in sight. I mean, we're not talking about like that, because you're not blinkering, just nice and stretched out. Now, keeping your head still, so we're not doing any of this, keeping your head still, I'd love you to track your eyes all the way to the right. Hold them there, keeping your head still, hold them there, until you, yep, there we go. You get a physiological response. Now, for me, it's a yawn. It could be a sneeze, it could be a cough, it could be a sigh. One of those kind of, you're not in control. That's a reflex action. And then you come back to the middle and then you do the same again on the other side. Oh, that's interesting. That takes longer for me. And there we go. Right. Okay, now that is you recalibrating your vagus nerve, because that is a wonderful wandering nerve. It's called the vagus because it means wanderer. And you know, when you're, when you, if you've got a talking, if you've got a talk to do, like all of us here have done these presentations, and to start with, your tongue can feel a bit thick and stuck in your mouth, and sometimes your throat feels as though it's dry, and your heart's racing, and your breathing gets more shallow and shallow and shallow, and your guts go into a bit of a knot. Well, guess what? That vagus nerve goes all through that lot. So it's pretty important that we can get that into relaxed mode. So that's what this does. It flips you out of the sympathetic nervous system, and goes into the parasympathetic nervous system. Anybody trying to transcribe this? Good luck with that bit. Okay, so this is where we've gone a little bit of mental, we've gone a little bit of neurology. Now for something very practical. Who here likes sticky notes? Anyone? Yep. Thanks, Jen. Now, if you are a speaker, if you are an author, tell me, do your ideas come in a nice, logical, orderly manner that you can have your ducks in a row and just sit down and work it all out? Yeah, thanks, Christy. Yeah, it doesn't happen like that, does it? So this is where I love my dear sticky notes. And one of these days, I'm going to suggest to 3M that they sponsor me, because I keep talking about this. One idea per sticky note. And then stick them on a wall. I've got a wall here. Put them on a wall. Put them on a table. Put them on a fridge. My fridge is just over there. Then you can literally see all your thoughts in one place. And you can start to manipulate them, move them around. Now, if you're an author, hello, here come your chapters. If you're a speaker, you've got all these different ideas that you can use depending on the audience in front of you, and also the duration, the time you've got available to you, because some keynotes may give you 90 minutes. How are you going to fill all of that? You've got all your ideas there. Some people give you only 5 minutes. So which is the most pertinent point that you're going to make to that audience? And then you can go from there. So this is my love of sticky notes, and anybody who's ever spent any time with me will know that we've got 6 on the wall right now. That's what I wanted to share with you today. 3 actionable strategies to look at healing these scripts, resetting the old nervous system, and something very practical that you can do immediately. Now, the free gift I have for you is a 13-page PDF on the Rewire process. I said I was going to share with you what the overview looks like. Do I have that facility, Lima? Can I share screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let me find it. And we will, where's it gone? Right. Don't look at the very many tabs I have open. This is what I wanted to show you in presenter mode. Yep, go. So this is the 6 steps. As I mentioned, we have the recognize, spot the unhelpful internal dialogue, exhale, pause, and calm your mind. Wonder if there's ever a time and place where this script may be useful. Baby bath water time. Investigate. What's the story telling you? Who was the one who brought it up in the first place? Rewrite that story into something resourceful, and then, yay, celebrate, acknowledge your growth. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So the free gift will be, is that something that you're putting out, Lima, or do you want me to put the link in the chat?
Yes, we'll put it out. You can put it in the chat also.
Okay, I'll do that then. Has anybody got any questions? Oh, just before we finish, go back to that dominant hand. Opposite shoulder. Good job, folks. Well done. You've got the courage to move forward because you're addressing those internal scripts. That's me. Thank you very much.